Hi folks. When we're talking about wild horses, we need to remember this is not rocket science. When we have to answer legal briefs, a lot of times it can feel like rocket science, but the issues always break down to something very simple. So let's start at the beginning. We are wild horse education after all. Wild horses are part of public lands. Do you understand that? On all of public land, wild horses can legally occupy about 12% of the land base. Inside that 12% of the land base, when we divvy out how much grass they can get, wild horses get about 16% on 12% of public land. That means on all of public land, wild horses get about that much. Where does all the rest of it go? We hear about degrading landscapes. Why? Well, there's other uses that can legally occupy public land. Let's look at livestock. Livestock gets about 2/3 of the public land base. Inside that 2/3 of public land, they're allotted 80% of all the grass that grows. They produce about 3% of all the beef used in the U.S. The vast majority of beef in the U.S. comes from private land. After all the permit fees are collected, public lands ranching loses the taxpayer about $150 million a year. The wild horse program costs about $80 million a year. We remove horses because they're eating grass that can be turned into a dollar bill. That $80 million covers roundups, adoptions, range, and all management overhead. So, let's take a look at the real cost of beef for a minute. 3% of U.S. beef eats 80% of the forage on 2/3 of public land and costs the taxpayer $150 million a year. Let's look at the land base again. Wild horses are on about 12% of public land. In the big picture, cows get about 2/3 of that land base, and they get about 80% of the forage even inside the areas where horses stand. So when we're talking about degraded landscapes, we kind of start to need to really look at all of public land, how wild horses fit into this picture, and what the problems really are. If you like this kind of video, we'll do some more.